Hakadosh Boker Or, Masechet Bava Kamma Daf Amud Aleph 83a1. We're speaking about Chokhmah Yevanit. So the Gemara asks, because you remember we said that if somebody taught Chokhmah Yevanit, it's going to be Mamash Asur. So the Gemara asks, Chokhmah Yevanit mi Asira? You're going to tell me that Chokhmah Yevanit is Asur to teach your child? But Tanya, we learned in Braita, Amar Rabbi. Rabbi says, Be'eretz Yisrael, now we're on page Amud Aleph from the top, Lashon Sursi, Lama. Why is it Lashon Sursi? Lashon Sursi is a type of Aramit. So he comes and he says, why should you know this, right? It's not going to be nice. Or B'Lashon HaKodesh, or Lashon Yavanit. Or speak Lashon HaKodesh, or Lashon Yavanit, but not Lashon Sursi. The Amar Rabbi Yosef says Rabbi Yosef, Bavel, Lashon Arami, Lama, why do you have to know, right? Lashon Arami. Lashon HaKodesh, or Lashon Parsi. So you see from here that it was fine to speak Lashon Chokhmah Yevanit. Yeah? So therefore there's no problem. Yeah, but here it says Lashon Yevanit. So the Gemara is going to answer a very interesting answer, right? And it's going to answer as follows. And it says like this. It says, Amri Lashon Yevani lechud v'chokhmat Yevanit lechud. He comes and he says there's going to be a difference between Lashon Yevanit and Chokhmat Yevanit. Meaning, Lashon Yevanit is going to be permitted, but Chokhmat Yevanit is going to be prohibited. Because the Chokhmat Yevanit was basically all the hints and everything between, like the different hints that they used to have between the kings. And that was Chokhmat Yevanit. That wasn't Lashon. Lashon is just language. You want to learn the language. Bechavol, learn the language. There's nothing to do with it. Ask the Gemara, the Chokhmat Yevanit mi Asira? Are you going to tell me that Chokhmat Yevanit is Asur? It says of you the name of Shmuel. In the name of Shmuel Gamliel, what does that mean? It's a pasuk in Hechal. So basically, he comes and he says, right, that I have to start crying on the Khurban more than anyone else. Why? Elef yeladim hayu bevet Abba. Do you know that there was 1,000 children, 1,000 bachurim in the house of Abba? 500 מהם למדו תורה, 500 לא נתורה, ו500 למדו חוכמה יוונית, and 500 learned חוכמה יוונית. ולא נשתייר מהם אלא אני כאן, right? And the only thing what was left over was here, was I, ובן אחי אבא באסיה, and my ben achi is my nephew, Abba be'Asya, right? Everybody was killed by the Romain, right? So you see from here that in the house of Rabbi Gamliel, they taught Chokhmat Yevanit. So Amri, they said, Shani Bet Rabbi Gamliel, it's different to the house of Rabbi Gamliel, Shayu Krovim leMalchut. Because since they were Krovim leMalchut, they needed the Chokhmat Yevanit. Meaning anybody that Be'emet, meaning they were like the Nasi. The Nasiim is like the chief rabbis. So the chief rabbis, they needed Chokhmat Yevanit. So it's obvious that they had to learn Chokhmat Yevanit. Because that's what they had to speak in between them and the government officials. So, right? Yes. If you don't need it, that's when they came and they said it's going to be a suit. Yeah, exactly. The Tanya, just like we learned in the Braita, Saper Komi, and somebody's going to come and he's going to cut his hair with a blorit at the back. Harezi midarkei amuri. Avtulmus bar Reuven, but they did permit to have Avtulmus bar Reuven, the Shukar v'Malchut, because he was a Rakal Malchut. Shabbat Gamliel, Tiru la Mesaper Chokhmah Yevanit, mipnei shekrovim Malchut. The same name. With the house of Gamliel, since he was Karov Malchut, so therefore they permitted also, right, that they should be able to learn or speak in Chokhmat Yevanit. It's very interesting though that they had like 500 and 500. I don't know why. No. You want Karov Malchut, do 200, and then all the rest, they were pashut, it was chetzi. 500 bachurim ו500 bachurim. 500 למדו תורה ו500 חוכמה יוונית. לא יגדל אדם כלב אלא אם כן קשור שלשלות. תנו לבנה, we learned in the Braita, לא יגדל אדם את הכלב אלא אם כן קשור שלשלות. You're not allowed to grow a dog, and you're not allowed to have a dog unless it's going to be tied up. אבל מגדל הוא בירה סמוכה לספר. But you're allowed to grow it, meaning you're allowed to have a dog, right? If you're going to be on a border city between Eretz Yisrael and the Goyim. Why? Because basically the dog then is going to watch over you. Yeah? וכושרו ביום, מתירו בלילה. So you tie it up during the day, and you let it loose during the nighttime. Right? Tanya, we learned in a Braita, Rabbi Eliezer HaGadol says, מגדל כלבים If you bring up a dog, it's like you're bringing up a chazir. So says Gemara, "Ma'inaf kamina." Says lemeikam lebe'arur. If you have an arur, because remember there was an arur by the chazirim, right? There was a curse. Here there was not a curse, but if you say it's the exact same as bringing up a pig, so now you have a curse. It's much different. So Amrav Nachman Bavel He says no, but in Bavel in itself, it's like you're on the imagine Bavel, you're in the wild west. Yeah, it's like you're on the right. The Tirgim and Narda. So he said no, but this is only speaking about Narda in Bavel. It's not all of Bavel. Darish of Dustai Demin Biri. So they were Doresh, right? Of Dustai from the city of Biri. ובנוחו יאמר שובה של נבואות אבי ישראל, ללמדך שאין השכינה שורה על מישראל פחות משני אלפים ושני נבואות. He says it's not going to be less than 22,000, right? חסר אחת, 22,000 minus 1, right? Remember, 10 ריבו, right? ריבו, right, is 10,000. So שני רבבות is 20,000. שני אלפים is 2,000. So 22,000, but חסר אחת, 21,999. So he says, right? So there was a pregnant woman, and she was going to be mashlim at 22,000. What happened? A kelev came and he barked, v'pila, and she dropped the fetus. So that causes the shechina to go away from Israel. Meaning, this dog was the one that caused the shechina to go away from Israel. So because of that, they said it. Another story. There was a woman that she went into a house to bake. So she got the shoot to go into a house to bake. Now the kelev of the balabait came and started the thing. Don't worry about him. Don't worry. They took away his sharp teeth. They went and she said, says, go take your tova and throw it on the thing, which means, what is it? What does that help now? The second the dog comes, meaning like this, the dog came to jump at her. So she doesn't know that it was taking away the teeth and therefore you can't do anything. So she already lost the child. So now the guy comes and he says, no, don't worry about it. I let you come and bake in my house, but don't worry about it. The dog won't do anything. Go for it. That's it. She miscarried already. It doesn't help anymore. Yeah, it's already too late. Fine. And porsin nishvin lionim, unless it was going to be rachok min yishuv 30 ris. What does the yonah go so far away? But it only goes 50 amah, right? Not such a far away, right? He comes and he says 30 ris is much more than 50 amah. So he comes and he says, Amar Rabbi Masechet chai tetuve. Really, be'emet, they go very, very, very far. They go even until 8,000 amot. Okay, but their stomachs get full after 50 amot. Okay, so he says what? It only goes 30 ris, right? But we learned in the Yishuv, even 100 mil, even 100 mil, right? That's a lot. So he comes and he says it's much more than just 40 mil. Shoshim ris is 40 mil. This is 100 mil. So answers the Gemara of Yosef Amar Yishuv Kramim. We're talking about the Yishuv of Kramim. Rabbi Amar Yishuv Shel Shovachim. We're talking about that we're going from one kerem to another kerem and one shovach to another shovach. That's the case. So ask the Gemara, he says, but what are we learning from the shovach in itself? So he says it all depends whether we're talking about the shovachim of goyim, the right, which that's one case, or shovachim of ifker, or shovachim his own shovachim. And therefore, in all these three cases, the person that's going to do it is not, he has to put it close by. He has to be choshesh only because the yunim, which is in the individual person's property, okay, which is going to be going from far away from the shovach. Adran alach merubah. Hakadosh, we're continuing Perek Shemini, the 8th chapter. Perek Shemini Pegim Amud Bet 83b. Yeah, it says over here like this: Hachovel bechavero. On the top, the first line in the word, the first line, right? We're starting. Hachovel bechavero. If somebody is going to be chovel bechavero, which means he's going to hit his friend and he's going to make a chabala. That's why we call them malachei chabala. Yeah. So sometimes the malachei chabala could be a malach, and sometimes it could be a human being. Yeah. Right. I see a lot of them. So he says hachovel bechavero hayav alav mishum hamisha devarim. He has to pay 5 different things. Yeah. Benezek. Tsa'ar, ripui, shevet, uboshet. You have to pay the damages. The suffering, doctor's bills, unemployment, ripui is refuah, right? That's what it sounds like. Shevet is like that you're sitting down. So it's basically unemployment, okay? And boshet. Boshet is the embarrassment, the shame. Thank you, okay? So now we're going to explain. Nezek keitzad. How do you do the nezek? Right? Simet eno katat yedo shiver et raglo. Ro'in oto kilu hu even nimka bashuk v'shamin kamo yafeh. Kamo yafeh, meaning like this. Let's say he blinded his eye. He cut off his hand. He broke his leg. So therefore, we're going to find out, we're going to look at it as if this is going to be an eved which is sold in the shuk. And how much is the valuation? And how much is he evaluated without that? Meaning the difference in price between one another. It's actually something very interesting. They actually have like a spreadsheet of this. I remember I once saw that a company had that if a person loses his hand, this is the value that they'll give him for the hand. If a person loses his leg, this is the value they'll give him for the leg. If a person, meaning that there's a special value.
If he loses a hand in the middle.
Yeah, obviously during the work, yes. There's that meaning that they actually gave the person like a spreadsheet. A hand is worth this, leg is worth this. Even though you should know, it's not always the same. I remember it once actually happened. There was a famous case. I think Richard told it us. 100%. I remember though there was a famous case that I think Richard told me, I think, if I remember correctly, that basically what happened is that they went to court, and when they went to court, they wanted to obligate the guy, and they went and they said they put like a crazy price, and they said, wow, like that's a very big value for that. So they asked him, but you're part of the juror, and you were the one that said that, and I guess everyone followed suit. Why did you say that price? He said, because it happened to him, and he knows what it is to feel that he doesn't have it. Meaning, this person lost, I don't know if it was a hand, I don't know what it was exactly, and therefore he knew what it was. So when a person knows what it is, the price is completely different. If you right now come and you tell a person, okay, how much is it worth a person's eyesight? So, okay, you could throw out a number or an eye. So you could throw out a number because, Baruch Hashem, we have two eyes and we see. So we don't know what it is, be'emet, the value of an eye. But if you take it away from a person, even if it's for a little bit of time, all of a sudden the value changes, right? All of a sudden it's a completely different world. So therefore it was actually a very big musar, right? The musar is that even in this, right, it all depends, because when, a person, we take things for granted. So a person's going to say, okay, fine, that's just the way. I remember my Rav, he became the Mashkiach afterwards, Rabbi Rokov, Allah Shalom. He was he was a Mashkiach in Nerisal, Toronto, but he was my grade 10 Rabbi. I remember right before his son's wedding, he broke his leg. He slipped and he broke his leg. And then he told me that the Satan is always by simachot. So usually you'll see that whenever there's a simcha, something will go wrong. Something will... So he just said, Baruch Hashem. But then he went and he said, but now I take the musad that when I say, Hamechim mitzad gaber, I have to put more kavanah. Meaning for them, it was something like obvious at the second, right away. No, right. No, maybe we have to put a little bit more salt on the, so there's no ice on the floor, right, with the snow. No. Hamechim mitzad gaber, have to have more kavanah. Right away. That's their, that's the reaction. But why? Because people, they feel it. It's a completely different reaction and different value when something is taken away from them. So that's going to be the nezik. Tsa'ar, suffering. Kivao. Let's say, for example, he got burnt. The shapud or masmer. Va'afilu al tziporno, or even on a tziporen. Tziporen is the nail. Makom she'eno oseh chabura. A place where they're not going to make a chabura. Umdin kama adam ko yotze b'zeh. Rotze litol liot mitztaer kach. They're going to evaluate how much the person, how much would a person pay to have it. Meaning, you'll find somebody that you tell them, listen, you're strapped for cash. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to burn you. How much do you want? So the guy comes and he says, you know what? Give me $5,000. Burn, okay, it'll hurt for a little bit. Yeah, you go to the hospital, put the thing, no. If that's the value, so that's what you have to give. That's the value, right? That's what he's going to say. Very interesting, but again, some people, they do it.
Did you see the video of the Chayal who lost?
Amai. The question is, why is it that a person... Sorry, I skipped out. Ripui. How do you do refuah? Hikau, if he hit him, he's going to be chayav l'rapoto. He has to pay for all the doctor's bills. Alubo tzmachim. right? What happens now if on the body you have all these like abuot and all those things? If it's going to be because of the makkah, it's going to be chayav. But if it's not mechamat makkah, it's going to be patur. Chayta v'nistera. But if it got cured and then it started again, chayta v'nistera, right? Again, chayta l'rapot. He's still going to be chayav l'rapoto because basically it's all from the same condition. Chayta kotzurah. If it 100% came clean, right? Then eno chayav l'rapoto. Shevet. What's unemployment? They're going to pay him like the minimum wage. Right? But they already gave him the money of his value. So therefore they give him like they give him like the minimum value of cucumber watcher. Somebody, somebody that gets paid not for like heavy duty work. Okay? Boshet, embarrassment. Here it all depends on the one that's embarrassing and the one that's getting embarrassed.
He's Moroccan and one is
100%, especially with the Iraqis. Yeah, the Iraqis. Yeah, fine, let's go. Fine, says the Gemara. Yeah, Amai. Why is it that he has to pay Mammon? The Torah says, Ain tachat ain. Take out his eye. So, Ema ain mamash. What do I say? It's ain mamash. Answers the Gemara said for sure it's not like that. The time we went to write, I would have thought, Bemet, tit for tat. What you do, they do to you. This like by makeh behema, it's tashlumin. You pay money, you don't get some damage. So to makeh adam is going to be tashlumin. So make a cash. Yeah, you heard. Yeah, you heard Mordechai. You were makish. So therefore, from the behema to adam, just like by behema you pay, so to adam you pay. You're going to tell me when it says the bazulo kofer rotzach hashur shalamut lenefesh rotzach yata lokeh kofer aval ata lokeh kofer l'rashei advarim shehen chozrin. I would have thought to say, listen, you can't take kofir from a murder. Meaning a murder, you have to actually come and you have to kill him. But let's say somebody that did not murder, maybe Bemet, you could take kofir. Maybe. Right? So says the Gemara, that's what I would have thought to say. So he comes and he says, Hi Makkah, this Makkah. Okay. So therefore he comes and he says, so therefore because it's the Mekor that says Chovel Meshalem et HaNezek Ven Chovlin Bo, just like he did it, which means that you're only going to come and you're going to do it. Right, but you can take kofir from Rashi Varim Shen Chozrim. That means you could take kofir. Kofir is a monetary. So it actually comes out that that's what is actually coming from this pasuk. You cannot take monetary value from a murder. Meaning a murderer can kill, and then afterwards it says, you know what, okay, fine, here's $5,000, come on. You understand? No. It doesn't work like that. You understand? It has to be that it's Rashi Varim. Okay, which means that you could take kofir for somebody that took off Rashi Varim, which are not Chozrim, but not for the Rasha Lamut that he actually came and he killed. So murder, you cannot take kofir. But if you damage, you could take kofir. Okay? Says the Gemara, Hi Makkah. What Makkah are we talking about now? Ilema, if you're talking about now Makkah, Be'ema yishel Makkah adam yumat, or Bektelaktiv. There we're talking about death. So what's going on? But there's another Makkah, right? It says Makkah nefesh Be'ema yishel mena nefesh tachal nefesh. The Samich Le, and there's going to be a Hekesh, Yish kitemu mamito, kasher asakini yaselo. Therefore, there, since it just said that if somebody's going to beat up an animal, right? He has to pay, but it's not going to be mamash. It's only going to be paying. It's not going to be, killing. And therefore, the pasuk right afterwards says, now a person, a human being, putting it into another human being. Whatever he did, they're going to do to him. So therefore, it has to be that it's money also. So says the Gemara, I don't makehu. That's not makeh. Haka kamninan. We're talking about haka. There it says kiten mumba mito. It doesn't say makeh. So what's going on? So to whenever it's written haka'a, that's what it means tashumin. Here it doesn't say makeh. It says yiten mum. He gave a blemish. So says the Gemara, v'haktiv, right? He comes and he says v'ishki akeh kol nefesh adam mot yumat. It says, but when a person is going to hit, he's going to die. There it's also written haka'a, and haka'a there means death. Doesn't mean penalty of money. Answers the Gemara, no, there it's also mamon. So says the Gemara, how do you know it's mamon over there? So eima b'mita mamash. Why don't you say it's mamash mita? So answers the Gemara, lo said for sure we're not saying like that. Chada de had itkash because there's a kesh lemakeh be'emay yishalemena. And furthermore, k'tiv batre, it says in the pasuk kasher yiten mu mamito ken yatebo shemamina mamon. So over there we're talking about mamon. So says the Gemara, umayim im nafshecha lomar. What does it mean im nafshecha lomar if you want to say? What does that mean now? Im nafshecha lomar if you want to say. Tuka kasha letana, the Tana actually came and had another question. Ma chazit dialaft mimakeh be'ema, leilaf mimakeh adam. Why are you learning makeh adam from makeh be'ema? Learn it from makeh adam. which means right there, it was talking about mitah. So therefore, why don't I learn the makeh adam from makeh adam? Why am I learning makeh adam from makeh behema? Makeh behema is money. Makeh adam is death. So why don't I just say the makeh adam, it's death. Because even if a person took out somebody's eye or whatever it is, right, he would be killed. That's what I would think. So answers the Gemara, Amri, we say, Danin nizikim nizikin, ven danin nizikim mitah. No. You could only judge damages from damages. You can't judge damages from death. Meaning, the case of Makeh Adam that he's going to be killed is only if he killed. So I cannot learn that if somebody took out somebody's eye, he gets killed. Because that's nizikin from mitah. Doesn't make sense to judge nizikin from mitah. Nizikin from nizikin, yes. Once to an animal, once to human. Okay, but it's nizikin to nizikin. It's much better to compare nizikin to nizikin than nizikin to mitah. So says the Gemara, Adra, but the opposite. It's better to judge Adam Adam and not Adam Behema. What's the connection between an Adam and Behema? Right? It's only the Gabbai. The Parnas is the only difference. No? You remember the story? No? So basically, it says like this. We should actually, Adra, but we should actually judge Adam Adam and not Adam Behema. Hainu diktani, that's the pshat what we see in Hechal, which means, since it says, Lo tikhu chofel nefesh roseach ashur shalamut kimot yumat, right? Lenefesh rotzeach yeta lokeh kofel. You can't take the kofel from nefesh rotzeach. Aval ata lokeh kofel l'rashei varim she'en chozrim. You could take kofel from rashei varim which don't go back. So says the Gemara, v'hai lo tikhu kofel nefesh rotzeach l'miut rashei varim udata. It's coming to exclude rashei varim. So he says, he needs it. Damar Rachmana, but the pasuk says, lo ta'avid betarte. Don't do two different things. Don't tishkol mine mamon v'tiktele. Don't take money and kill him. Meaning you could only do one thing. Don't do two. Right? So says the Gemara, 1 second. That's what you learn from there. From lo tikhu chofel nefesh rotzeach, hamichderi shato nafka. We learn from kederi shato sherisha achat ata mechayevo. Meaning, leavdil elef avdalot, secular law, they throw on counts. We don't hold those counts. Meaning that if there's already a judgment, the death penalty is the highest amount. That's it. There's no more afterwards. You also have to pay and you also get killed. It doesn't exist. But that they learn from kederi sha'ato risha achat ata mechayevo. Ata mechayevo, you obligate him for one rishut, but not for two. So says the Gemara, and you still need it also. The Kamar Rachmana, the pasuk says, don't take money and make him patur. Imagine you would have such a thing. Let him pay, and then he gets off the hook. You don't kill him. Let him pay, and he gets off the hook. You don't want that. So therefore the Torah says, why do I need nefesh rotzeach? The nefesh rotzeach yeta lokeh kofer. So we actually learn from here, nefesh rotzeach, you cannot take kofer, but you could take kofer for rashei varim she'en chozrim. So says the Gemara, v'chi me'achar tichtiv, but since it's written lo tikhu kofer makeh lamali. So why do I need makeh? So Amri, so they said, if it was from this pasuk of Amin, I would have thought to say, ibai eno netiv, ibai dme eno netiv. I would have thought to say, listen, the guy could choose. He could choose to take out his eye or to pay the value of the eye, meaning that you give him a choice. So Kamash Malan comes teach you, but the Behema, just like the Behema is Tashlumin, so to Makeh Adam is Tashlumin, that means you don't give him a choice. You don't tell him it's either or. No, you have to pay. You don't give him a choice and listen, if you want, we can take out your eye, or if you want, you can pay. No, it's only payment. Okay? Tanya, we learned in the Braita. Rabbi Dosai ben Yehuda Omer, Rabbi Yehuda ben Dosai says, Ayin tachat ayin mamon. What does it mean Ayin tachat ayin? Mamon. Ata Omer mamon, do you say it's mamon or it's going to be ayin mamash? So Marta, you said what happens if the eye is bigger than the other one? Meaning the eye of one guy is big and the other guy's eye is smaller, or vice versa. How do you say ayin tachat ayin? Maybe in that case you take money. You have the same halachot. Mishpat yelechul lechem. So Amri, so they said, okay, fine, but my kushia, what's the question? He says, why? What do you mean, why is the question? He says, Dilma nehora shakir mine, maybe he actually came and he obligated himself, mamasha, he took away light, nehora b'nachman mishkol, which means we're talking about the light, not the eye. The eye is just a intermediary to get to the light, but it's the light. If you're not going to say this, Katan sheharag peidalad amud aleph on the top. Katan sheharag et gadol. If you have a minor that kills a person that's right, that's a big person, or gadol sheharag et katan, how do you kill him? The Torah says mishpat echad yelechem, mishpat hashvel lekulchem, has to be equal to everybody. So if you have a midget killing a giant, or a giant killing a midget, so what, you don't kill them? He says mishpat echad yelechem. Ela neshama shakil mini, took away neshama. So tu neshama rachmana neshakil mini, achenami, same thing. Neora shakil mine, neora rachmana neshakil mine. That's what you're going to come, and you're going to take away.